Hey there, welcome to Talking Texas Politics with Calvin. We're going to continue the discussion of the education savings accounts, school choice, whatever you would like to call it. But that's been a hot topic here in Texas. This past week, we had the committee hearing for House Bill 3, which is the House version. And the House version actually has less strings attached than the Senate version does, although there is still some strings attached. And so I went down this past week to the hearing. I wanted to give you some of the observations that I took away from the hearing. Um, First and foremost, there was a lot of people that showed up for this hearing, and I've been involved in some pretty contentious hearings in the past, but just by sheer number, I think this is probably the largest, and I've been frequenting the Capitol for the last 20 years or so. So there's a lot of people that showed up. There was a lot of people that testified, and there was a lot of opposition to this bill. So a couple of the observations that I had was from the actual committee themselves, and they were doing a lot of interaction, a lot of discussion about various aspects of the bill, and in particular, the subject of public education. Um, and I'll use their words, have been trying to fix public education for the last 20 years and have been unsuccessful in doing so. And these are the more public education oriented legislators. So this isn't the people that would be considered, anti-public ed or anything like that. So my question, I guess, would be if you messed up public education and you, in their own words, have been trying to fix it for the last 20 plus years and have been unable to do so, why on earth would we want to put these people in charge of private education? That's just a simple question. Um, Another observation was the number of Republicans who showed up in opposition to this bill. They would not be someone you would think would be public education advocates. Uh, and a lot of them were concerned about the strings that were attached. A lot of them were concerned about the physical notes. So over the next 5 years or so, this is going to cost Texas taxpayers over $11 billion. It's going to add, 40 plus positions to the Texas bureaucracy. So there was a lot of those concerns, and there was a lot of homeschoolers like myself. We're a homeschool family, and we have some concerns about how this would impact homeschool, particularly with some of those strings that I was talking about earlier. And so unfortunately, the Texas Homeschool Coalition has come out in support of this bill, and they have been championing it, and very likely may have been part of authoring it, I suppose. Um, they got up and testified and declared that they represent the 650,000 homeschool families in the state of Texas. And then the next several panels that came up were homeschool parents who just, and myself included, who's, hey, Texas Homeschool Coalition don't represent me because that's not what I think. And I have a pretty good network of homeschool folks. I'm part of the Texas grassroots. There's a lot of homeschoolers in Texas grassroots. Um, and I have found no homeschoolers who are supportive of this legislation. And the main reason that they're not supportive of the legislation um, is the strings. And in the Republican Party platform, it specifically says no strings attached. And there are strings attached in House Bill 3 and Senate Bill 2. All of the major proposals currently have strings attached. And those are concerning. And so when you bring up those strings, there is, they will say, well, if you don't take the money, you don't have to worry about the strings. But it doesn't work that way. So in the homeschool community, for example, if a small fraction of the homeschoolers or even new entrants into homeschooling take the money, that's going to impact the entire homeschool community. Anytime that you interject public funds or public handouts into things, the prices of things go up. So it, nationwide, the average homeschool family spends about $600 a year. I promise you that that will go up if the the government handouts are taken in the homeschool community. So that price is going to go up, and prices are going to go up for things like specialized courses. It's not unusual for homeschoolers to have like a specialized course like science or something like that to help prepare their kids for college, those sort of things. And they're usually taught by, maybe a retired public school teacher or something like that. But it will be a specific curriculum that the parents agree with and support. And if that individual decided they wanted to take public money, they wanted to take these government handouts from House Bill 3, then they would have to get certified, which is, I mean, I don't know what certified means. Nobody's been able to explain to me what certified means. And so, in order to go through that process, they're very likely going to have to raise their prices because that's going to be extra work, extra bureaucracy on their part, extra record keeping, things like that. So, they're going to have to raise their prices. So, the science class that cost me $300 a couple of years ago is going to cost me $600 in a couple of years. And that's just the reality of it. And government has never gotten involved in something like this or injected money into something without the prices going up. There's plenty of statistics on that. That really shouldn't even be debatable to anybody who has any kind of common sense. So those strings are what is so concerning for me as a homeschool parent. And the fact that homeschool is thriving, especially here in Texas, but across the United States. And homeschool kids are outperforming public school kids in just about every statistical category as far as academia goes, whether that's standardized testing. They do above average in SAT, ACT. They're now being heavily recruited by colleges. So homeschool is working. And my point is leave it alone. If you want to make this bill better, somebody carry an amendment, just simply remove homeschool from this altogether. And I think that you're going to get very little pushback from the homeschool community when you do that. There may be some, but it's probably going to be very little. I haven't talked to anybody who wants this because of the associated strings that come with it. And those strings are not, I repeat, they are not just going to stick with the people who take the government handouts. So thank you for listening to me. I really appreciate everyone. God bless you and God bless Texas.